Hello, everyone. This is Baruti Carl Alexander with another edition of the Sourceseeker Hour. This is our 176th episode. And every 3 to 6 months, we have a topic on diet, nutrition, exercise. I'm not the number one proponent or example of that. That's why I always reach out to my brother Sani, who's a big proponent of nutrition, exercise. Say hi to the people, please, Husani. Husani,
Hey,
you can't hear me?
everyone, what's going on? My name's
Okay.
Sani. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
All right. Well, how long have you been, all your life pretty much, would you say that you have been really working with health, exercise, and nutrition? Not the number one proponent or
Uh, Pretty much.
okay, we got some things going on here. Let me uh I I heard you there, Tamani. I'm gonna cut this down, make sure this is not up. But go ahead to go
Hello,
ahead
can
and
you?
talk about exercise, Husani.
Oh yeah, well, fitness and health and exercise like it's a part of everyone's life. It's been a part of my life, and especially in my experience, because growing up I had asthma very bad, and it would put me in the hospital often. So I spent a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of time wheezing and couldn't breathe. But you couldn't tell off of first looks. Like, you'd find me out playing in the fields with all of the rest of my friends and everything, but I'd have to stop when I couldn't breathe. I'd have to take breaks. But my will and my heart, I wanted to play. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to run the fastest. But my body wouldn't let me. So as I got older, I think it was more so the will um, to play, to persist, and everything that kept me out there. So it became more. It became a way of life, but it became a passion of mine. Like just going out, running, competing, sweating, and later on, when the competition stopped, it just became a natural, normal thing. More so a therapy for me to just go out and exercise and work out and get into those different modes, like martial arts and swimming and tennis and whatever else. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much a quick
Did you
little.
always watch your diet, or was it something your mother just did for you and then you caught on later?
Well, growing up, I was introduced to the macrobiotic diet, which means we focused on the food groups, and we ate as clean as we could in those main food groups. We didn't do high fats. We didn't do dairy products. So we looked for alternatives and stuff. But I'm pretty sure the soy and all that was tearing me up as a child. Was triggering my asthma and doing other like health things against my body. But I understood that there was an alternative. Understood that there was something else other than junk food or other than whatever they were telling us. They were like, okay, white rice. No, there's alternatives. There's wheat rice, and instead of this type of potatoes, there's this, and instead of fried chicken, there's baked chicken. So we just start going with a lot of the healthier alternatives as a child, and as I grew older, I understood that there was something more powerful than all that, and that was the herbs. And so I started going into the herbs and studying like the native herbs, and it sent me to the garden, and that's where you find me a lot now. Currently in the garden and in workout spaces and fitness spaces.
We're gonna talk more about those herbs. I want to introduce our other guest, Sister Sierra.
Oh yeah.
What has been your experience with diet, nutrition, and what are some of the things you look for yourself, your family?
Well, yes, thank you so much again for having me. I'm excited to talk about diet and nutrition because my perspective when it came to the nutritional pieces was more so just being in nature, the sunlight, creating a system for what I needed to do. That was the hardest thing for me. I think creating a system around my lifestyle to actually be intentional about eating right and all those things. I wasn't as well versed in the herbs as the sir said previously. But I definitely know that the work that I did in the community made me more intentional about fueling my body as much as I fueled the community. Because in order to be an active leader, I had to really be intentional about staying hydrated, drinking water. We mentioned how previously in a conversation that the temperatures are so high, staying hydrated leads to, or not being hydrated leads to so many other issues, especially in our community, the Black community. Just drinking water throughout the day is helpful. So when I ask people what's my favorite drink, they know it's water because if I don't know anything else, drinking water is extremely helpful. So I know we have other great components of being a part of our community and our culture, and I want my Black to not crack as long as it can. So I try to drink my
Most
water,
definitely.
and yeah. So I'm looking forward to this discussion because it's definitely needed and it needs to be intentional in all of our lives and our communities. So
Do you think we in the Black community are starting to take much more emphasis? I guess in our history, people did not, I mean, kind of we learned to eat the scraps somewhat that we were given. Are we doing better today as a community in our overall diet? You know, we the number one community with things like hypertension, high blood pressure. Are we as a community, do you believe, doing better, Cierra?
I would say yes and no. So a lot of times when it comes to nutrition, it actually plays a part in your economic status because a lot of us know eating healthy can sometimes be, or not just eating healthy, but just staying healthy, like maybe having access to shaded gyms or, community centers because we're in Texas, it's extremely hot. So working out can be an access point, that may be not accessible to people. But I think when it comes to the kids, and I say this maybe because I'm in the schools a lot, eating is different. So not we don't make it intentional for our kids to eat healthy. And I think that's something that we should do more regularly. But I would say, depending on the spaces that you're in, I would say we've done better, but not as good as we can do. I definitely think that the activity portion is there with going to the gym because a lot of people have made that, whether it's something that they're actually doing to stay healthy or if it's a trend to wear the clothes. Either way, we're putting that at the forefront where we know it's needed, and we're taking those baby steps to get where we need to be in our day-to-day lives. So I think we're doing good enough.
I think overall we are doing better as a community. We are. I mean, that's with added, I guess, exposure, and we do have a little bit more resources sometimes than we used to. Sister Kijana, are you available? Can you hear now? We can't hear
Hello,
you
can you
now.
hear me now?
Okay, we can hear you, and
Okay.
hopefully you can hear us.
Yeah, I
Introduce
can hear you.
yourself. And we've been talking about diet and
I-
nutrition, our history. You were able to hear us?
yes, I could hear you.
Oh, okay.
I just had to
Well,
set this new
topic,
computer up.
same theme. Give us some of your experience with your diet and nutrition.
Well, first, let me say who I am. My name is Kijana Wiseman Fusilier, and I'm a singing storyteller, and I'm also a creative production director, radio, TV, things like that. I've worked in 23 countries. I've traveled through about 28 of them, and I sing in 7 languages. But it wasn't until I was like 60, until menopause hit, my life was great. And then menopause hit, and it's like everything just went haywire, you know. And I couldn't understand my body at all. Oh, by the way, I'm 75 years old, and
I would have said you weren't over 49.
well, I have really bad lighting here today, so
Oh, come on.
I'll blame it on that. But I studied the human genome when I was in high school, and did a lot of biology. I got the National Science Foundation Award when I graduated from high school. I went into pre-med, but I didn't like. I did 1 week in the hospital system when I just said, no, this is not for me. So I didn't like patients, and I couldn't understand why my doctors thought I was an upstart by asking them, why are we treating the causes and not the effect? Why are we treating the effects and not the causes? Because it just didn't seem like, and I remembered when they cured polio when I was in elementary school, and that was the last time they cured anything. I mean, think about it. Tell me something that they've cured. Nothing. I said something to a lady, I think it was about 2, maybe 3 days ago, and she looked at me because it looked at me like I'd said something about a new French salad or something, because I said something about being that I've spent my life avoiding being in prescription jail. When when I hit about, I think I was 64. I found that no matter, I was exercising like a fiend. I was going to I had a 9 o'clock Zumba class. Then I had an 11 o'clock water Zumba class. Then I had a 7 o'clock class in the pool at Emancipation Park, or in the pool out here in Hiram Clark. And I did that 5 to 6 days a week, and nothing was working. It was like I ate, I gained weight. I didn't eat, I gained weight, and it was soft. And all my musculature was going. I was 185 pounds, and I didn't even know how it happened, because it didn't seem like anything I did. It was like my whole body was working against me. So you guys are pretty young, so this hasn't happened to you yet, Cierra. But and then my husband said, well, let's see what food will do, because I was at the heart failure clinic. I was following my brother, my mother, all of my aunts and uncles into heart disease. And I just said, well, I guess it's my turn. But my husband said, let's see what food will do. And I was like, well, we eat healthy. He says, but maybe we're not eating all of the healthy things we need. So he did some research. He was a Gamecock, a University of South Carolina football player. And he did bodybuilding, and he works out like a fiend, And so I was following his example, but menopause was saying, yeah, keep it up, girl. So he put together ginger, garlic, turmeric, black pepper, and apple cider vinegar. Tasted like donkey piss. He juiced that and gave it to me in a little, I would only take a little shot cup of it, because he juiced each of those, mixed them together, and I took a shot of it. And at the time, I was going to bed with tears in my eyes because I couldn't open my hands in the mornings. Okay. They were like this. This was every morning. This was me trying to beat my hands to wake them up. My feet, I was going to the bathroom 5 or 6 times. And it happened so gradually. You suddenly say, wait a minute, there was a time this didn't happen to me. Well, now I say there was a time that happened to me, because none of that happens anymore. He put together the roots of what we eventually called Gingartum, because donkey piss was not a good name for it. And nobody would want to drink it, but in my mind, that was what it was. But I added it. One day I came in from Whole Foods, and I had a big jug of carrot juice, and so I poured my donkey piss into this carrot juice, and I said, oh, okay, I can do this. And within the next month, I've noticed that first one or two fingers, I was able to move a few of them, and then slowly I was able to move them all in the mornings. And then they were no longer even work against me to open up. Then the pain started to go away, and then my back stopped hurting, and then my rings started falling off. And I noticed that my bras seemed too big, and everything was getting too big. And then I had stopped getting on the scale because it was such a disappointment. It wasn't until my husband looked down one day when I was petting the new dog that neighbor had gotten, and he said, is that my wedding set on the ground? Because my whole wedding set had fallen off my hands when I reached down to pet the dog. So I said, okay, maybe I need to weigh myself. Something's going on. And so I went from 185. I was hoping I said, oh, well, great. Let me keep doing this. And then my neighbors began to notice, and I went to 150, which was, I thought, great. But then I hit 135, and I was like, oh, again, I remembered when I was modeling in Europe, I was like 120, 125, and I got down to 125. But I had a great birthday last month, so I'm 130 now. But
go ahead.
But
let me ask, so
uh-huh.
you were 185 and you were kind of feeling bad, and then you came up with
no, baby, I was feeling horrible. I was crying on my way to bed every night because my hands would hurt.
You came up with this, what you call dog piss, I'll call a concoction.
Yeah.
And it helped you. You mixed it with carrot juice, and it helped you to feel better.
Yeah, I mixed it with carrot juice. This was me.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody can see that?
Yes.
Okay. That was when I was 64. Let me step back a little bit. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
But not only that, my knees, my back, my hips don't hurt anymore. Hold on. I don't think I'm using this microphone.
Okay.
Okay. My legs don't hurt. I have flexibility like I haven't had since I was in theater and 35.
Okay, so how long has this new redemption been going on? Maybe a year, you said about a month?
Oh, no, darling. It happened slowly. That's the reason why the fat that I had before has turned into muscle.
Okay.
When I go to the gym, I was at the gym day before yesterday and yesterday, and it was called, hot tub. I do get up and I row. I have a rowing machine here at home, and I'll do 50 rows, usually either that, or sometimes at night if I can't sleep, I'll get on my bicycle around 1 a.m, ride around the neighborhood, and then come back in and go to sleep. But for the most part, my doctor tells me that he cannot even recommend anything for me right now. My blood pressure has gone from 180 over 105 to 160. Yeah, I know. I was at the heart failure clinic. That was before my physician asked me to bring him some, because he couldn't understand. At first he said, wow, that Lipitor is really working for you. But then he looked and realized that I had never filled any of his prescriptions. And I was like, oh man, you track that? And he says, yeah, what are you doing? And I told him, and he says, but your cholesterol was 483 in January, and now it's 269 in June. And later that year, it was 170, something like that. And he says, that's phenomenal in 6 months. And I said, well, huh?
Sister Kijana, I got to cut in and ask. So have you bottled this, and have you put it together where you could package it and sell it to all of us?
Yeah, it's at Gingartum.com. I was looking to see if I have one of the here. Okay. It's at Gingartum.com. And in fact, we were just running around today dropping them. Here we go. Let's see.
Okay.
Is that backwards? It is.
No,
backwards.
I can see it fine. Gingartum in orange, yellow, or gold, and green. I can see
the
it
colors
just fine.
of the roots. Right.
All right. Well, that is
But
a great
it's
thing.
and they're about the Harris County Health Department has a new program called Food as Medicine, and the LBJ Hospital gives us a booth twice a month. In fact, we'll be at LBJ this Saturday from 9 until 12, and we give away free samples. And I'll also have my Gingartum spice samples there. Hold on. If you can
Okay.
see that.
Gingartum. All
Yeah,
right.
this is a salt substitute that we make. Sorry, it's also a decongestant from the pulp of the juice. But the main thing is, I've had doctors call. I had one doctor. No, I had two doctors call me and ask me, say, "Do you have all of the ingredients on the bottle?" I said, "Yes, on the bottle, on the brochure, on the website, and on the business card." And she says, "No, you're not supposed to do this." And one doctor even said, "Oh, you're way over your head." I said, "Why do you say that?" She says, "Because you're just supposed to say, Gingartum is ginger, garlic, turmeric, and other spices." But I put down everything that's in the Gingartum in the brochure and on the website, and we put everything that each of the roots do. It's ginger, garlic, turmeric, carrot juice. There's cold pressed ginger, garlic, turmeric, and then carrots that have been freshly juiced. We juice 100 pounds of carrots, and then we pasteurize them with black pepper so that it'll go through every drop and go into the turmeric, which increases the absorption of turmeric by 2,000%. Then we have apple cider vinegar, and everyone knows what that does. Black pepper corns that we freshly crush, and we get the organic ones from India. And we double filter our water, because the filtered water that we were buying from a local water delivery service, commercial for industry, was their water didn't taste as good as the water that I was getting out of the filter that I created at my house. So now I had a lady call me today and say, I need she's over in Acres Home. She said she wants to buy one of my filters, because the filter cleans the water so clean that it's almost crisp. And we
So
stopped
I like to
buying
ask
commercial
this.
water.
I like to ask this.
Mhm.
Do you still go to the regular store sometimes and do shopping, or do you?
Of course. We go
Okay,
shopping.
so
We mostly do Aldi Market and Costco. That's pretty much it. Aldi Market has their bananas taste like bananas. And see, at the Gingartum website, I have a smoothie recipe that's amazing. It's made out, instead of ice cubes, you use frozen banana chunks.
okay,
And
so
you put
you
you
still you go to Aldi, and what was the other one? Costco, right?
right.
Okay.
And let's see, and we're not vegetarians. People say, "Oh, y'all must have gone change your diet." Not really, not really. We do like tofu, but my husband also likes a nice steak every now and then. But we don't go overboard. Every moderation in everything. You can drown. You can drink a lot of water, but you can also drown. So you have
Yes,
to.
I understand that. Let me ask Sister Sierra. When you go shopping, what are some of the things that you shop for, and where do you go shopping at, if I may ask?
Definitely love Costco. I absolutely love Costco, HEB, Whole Foods. That's where I go, but I usually stay on the perimeters of the markets if I'm going in a market like HEB. And I usually stay as soon as I get in the store where it's all the vegetables and fruits. I usually stay there and I just have a good time. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and naturally I like to get things that are not because there's spinach you can get or different, what is it, squash or zucchini or any of those things, and sometimes they have it pre-made for you, but I just go the extra mile and do it myself, cut it up, wash it how I wash it, clean it how I clean it, and so that's where I go. But snacks, that usually in that perimeter, that's where I live in my happy place there, so I'll eat my carrots and eat, just anything that's on the perimeter. Fruits. I love squash. I love zucchini. I love cucumbers. Those are my favorite. Bell peppers. I literally can bite into them like an apple. So those are my happy things, all things. But spinach is really, really good. I love salad. And I try not to put the dressings that, like you're going to Wingstop with all of the, the fixings and ranch and all that stuff. Some people make a salad and you're like, it's not even nutritional anymore. So
No.
yeah, so that's really where I am. And I eat like a rabbit. So I have to make sure I eat things that are packed with nutrients. And if it comes to a meat, salmon I love. So that's the
So are
other
you
side.
saying
Oh,
you eat certain things like squash, zucchini for your snacks? What do you do for healthy snacks?
well, healthy,
Celery.
literally. Yeah, yes. I will cut up bell peppers and put them in a glass jar. And when I have my jars, I try not to get any plastics. I have glass, just glass containers, and I'll take those out and about with me. I have coolers, and I have all different things because when I'm out and about in the car, it's super hot in Texas, so it looks like a purse, but I have all types of fruits, grapes, grapefruit. I love pomegranate. Some people my age don't even know what that is, which is crazy. So
Oh, they're
Yeah, when we
missing
grew
out.
up,
They're
we
missing out.
had pomegranates.
yeah,
That
I
we
love
sure
them.
did.
So
Oh,
um,
let me
yeah,
let me share something with you. We do a lot of salmon here at home,
yeah.
but my husband came home last week with some steelhead trout, and OMG, that was an amazing fish. And it was fresh caught steelhead from Costco. I sent that
Oh,
Negro back to go get some more.
oh yeah. When you find it good, you gotta stock up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, Brother Husani, all this talk of what do you eat for like healthy snacks? Sister Sierra says squash, zucchini, other things that don't come into my mind at all. What do you eat?
Well, I'll give you a kind of the long version of that of my response. So the my fitness journey led me to the garden, and I've been growing a lot of gardens. I've been building, and I have one right now that I pull from, that I grow and pull from, and all of those fresh. A lot of the same vegetables that Miss Sierra mentioned earlier, the cucumbers, the squash. Oh man, we were loaded up. We've been loaded all summer. Okra, and we have these spicy peppers right now that every now and then, like I'll pop one or two. I'm not really a spice type eater, but my
Wow.
Mexican coworkers, they've shown me how to eat. They showed me a little bit. They'll have them like a dish of like say 5 or 10 of them next to their food, and while they're eating, they'll just pull from the peppers and just eat them. So just to show that I'm a soldier, that I'm a rider, I eat one with them. But all those fresh vegetables right now, they've been giving me life. And when I'm not on point, I do go out and eat. I just get a little reckless, but I work out a lot, so I know that I burn off a lot of calories. But when I'm on point, I'm eating from the garden. I'm not spending so much money on packages that I have to open. Um, it's fresh, it's cooked foods, it's that. But snack wise, man, I don't really snack. I've gone into the habit of like intermittent fasting. So I don't eat 3 meals a day. I haven't in a long time. So when I snack light. I try to snack smart, and a lot of fruits and vegetables. And it's summertime, so we got watermelons, we got the melons, we have
Nectarines.
access to so much right now. So I'm just taking advantage of that. Mulberries, well, they just kind of like you just kind of
Grow on the tree.
out recently, but we got mulberries, we got all this stuff, right now. The strawberries are fresh. And then we're going into the fall, so we're about to get another round of just fresh vegetables and stuff. So yeah, man, I try to stick to the most natural. And then I love to talk about the fresh fish. Um, we have chickens in our backyard right now. We have rabbits. I want more. What other animal was I thinking about getting? Um, I've worked with fish in agriculture settings. I've done something called aquaponics, where you basically you have your fish tank, but you're growing fish. You're farming fish while growing food, and both of those ecosystems kind of feed each other. So I'm into all the sustainable. So to answer your question, I'm into the most natural and the most nutritious, and that's kind of keeping it simple. Those are your fruits, those are your vegetables. Those are the things you don't have to open. You don't have to go to the store and really purchase. So I'm trying to lower the cost of living by changing my palate, going back to nature, because we're used to the salts, we're used to the sugars, we're used to all those things that make us, jittery and go and all that stuff.
So let me ask this question. Same question I asked earlier. Do you think we in the Black community are doing better with our health? And how can we do better?
Man, it's hard to say. Man, so I I say, man, from all evidence, we're still under attack. If you've ever heard that we're under attack and we got somebody that don't like us and they want us gone, we're still like that. That's very much true. And you can tell by the foods. When there was that big health scare a couple years back,
Mhm.
no one mentioned healthy activities. No one mentioned healthy eating. No one mentioned anything practical. It was just like, oh, trip out, do this, do that, take this shots, do this. And they don't want us to live a peaceful, healthy, wholesome life. You know what I'm saying? If they did, they would want to, but we should want to do it. So do I think we're getting better? I think our spirit is so strong, and so it's hard to say that we're getting worse. I think we have a strong spirit, but I think that the attacks are getting worse, and yeah, man. So it's really hard to say, man. I don't think we're getting better.
Can I address that question?
Yeah,
You didn't
please.
ask.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I think it's worse. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
worse.
All right. Yeah.
How so,
I'm
ma'am?
sorry. When I look at a picture of my classmates when we graduated from high school, and I look at a picture of the graduating class from any class from the last 10, 15 years, and we have come to accept the hippos in the wild as normal. I'm sorry.
So you mean everybody is obese and overweight?
Americans,
Okay.
because
And especially Black Americans.
all
Especially,
Americans, but
okay.
especially, unfortunately, Black Americans,
Okay.
because I mean, we have some watermelons in our little patch back here, and we, in the past, before the freeze, we had I used to eat my kumquats and my lemons and my grapefruits from my trees in the backyard, but they were destroyed, and I have a new grapefruit growing, but it's going to take a while, and I have some papaya, but that's 7 years. But that aside, I have I'm very, very disappointed when I see a lot of 20 somethings walking around or standing on the streets. Our children our grandchildren at this point they've lost the sense of pride in their dress and their bodies. They spend more money on hair and makeup and false this and false that, as opposed to taking care of their health, the thing that they're putting the trappings on. I was just at Shape Center, and Miss Clarice Freeman, I just made 105 years old. I posted it on my Facebook page. You can go and get a picture of it. But she walked in on her own power. She stood up and gave a speech for about 5 or 10 minutes. She has all her faculties. And one of the things that she said was how sad it was that we are losing our generations through health. And the current person who is, quote unquote, in charge of the health department, if we can call it that. It was bad enough before, but the current health inspector general, Mr. Kennedy, he believes in depopulation. If you research some of the things that he said and some of the things he's done in the past, you know, I was one of the Sudan poets. I doubt if any of you know about us, but we were you've heard of the last poets? They were pretty famous. Okay, the last poets of Houston were the Sudan poets. And we back in the 70s and 60s and it's late 60s and 70s, I have a CIA file on me right now, but we were considered to be subversives and guerrilla theater because we talked to people about real things and about having pride in yourself and about carrying yourself with decorum. And when I got my bachelor's, I have a bachelor's of science and biology, and I have a bachelor's of fine arts and theater. And like I said, I am a singer. But I had to look at, when I told my mother, because the guy, some of the artists from U of H were going to California, and I was the Black person that they asked to go with them. And these are people like Ferris Bueller's mom, Cindy Pickett, Lieutenant Commander Data, who was in Star Trek. You know, we were all going to get a big apartment together and go out and audition. And my mother asked me to take a serious look at what images were already being displayed of Black women on television. And I'm sorry to say it hasn't changed a whole lot, because I thought about it and she told me, she says, you're not tall enough to be a streetwalker. So instead, I took my talents and I joined the Peace Corps. And I went to Liberia, West Africa. And there, they changed me as much as I changed them. They impacted me, my students did. So it helped me to get centered and away from the whole American ideal. And I noticed the way that people around the world look at Americans. They call us juicy, and it fits. When they would come to our programs at the Culture Center, they didn't know I was an American, because, you know, myself, I know how to talk to Liberian English, no problem. But the Americans, and they were bulbous compared to what we were used to there and around the world. When you go to Europe, you can eat the food, as you can have a feast every night and come back and you will have lost weight, but you will be strong because their food is still good. Their seeds their seeds are plantable. They haven't genetically modified them. They don't have 20 brands of cereals in the stores. They don't have 50 brands of ketchup and things like that. When they sell you French fries, you get mustard with it, not sugary tomato sauce. So, you know, all of this adds up after a while. I tell people all the time, if they have sugar in their house, to get rid of it and instead get coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is the reason my teeth stopped breaking, my dentist told me. That coconut sugar has calcium, magnesium, zinc, potassium, copper, and iron back into your system. And since I started doing coconut sugar in our juice and on anything else that I would normally want to sweeten, tea, whatever, my not only have my teeth stopped breaking, but my bones are no longer hurting. And I've been told by my doctor, well, my Chinese doctor, by the way, who says he can't recommend any drugs for me yet, after 10 years of being on Gingartum. He said that the coconut sugar is the reason that I'm no longer iron deficient. I've been iron deficient all my life, and now I'm no longer iron deficient. The thing is that we have to listen to our bodies, and too often we're not. We're just listening to our hunger. And the reason Americans are hungry is because the food industry is not giving us the nutrients that we need. You're doing a great thing by growing, you know, and eating mostly from your garden. I have great admiration, and we're still, my husband and I have killed 3 watermelons this week, and I know I shouldn't, but they've been the watermelons at Sunshine's Deli, and then at our the house store over on Cullen. Is it on Cullen? Do you know what I'm talking about? The farm.
Oh, which one is that?
It's you know where that big supermarket is on Cullen, near West Airport. Right across from there, there's a thing called House Store.
Okay.
And these are some farmers who bring all their preservatives in, they package them, they make some amazing preservatives. And they also have seeded watermelons. And oh, I saved some of the seeds. I grew one of their watermelons already this year. But you know, the thing is that we're not supposed to be self-sustainable here in America, because the corporate Congress, excuse me for adding that word into our lexicon, the corporate Congress does not want us to be healthy, and they are not friendly to people who are not rich or well off, and they think there are too many people on the streets, there are too many people in America, they want to depopulate us. Hence the best way is let the people, what did your president say, that their president say about his own nephew who was disabled? He asked his brother, why don't you just let him die? You know, that's the attitude for us, for brown people, for the Latinos who voted for Mr. Trump, and for people who have no idea what is going on, who are clueless, who proudly say, I've heard 3 people this week say, well, it's not my fault that he's in office, I didn't vote. Anyway,
let me go to ask Sister Cierra this. We're getting close to the end of our show. We got about 15 minutes left. I mean, what is the best way that we can encourage people to eat more healthy when of course, the television media industry pushes certain things? You talked about sugars and salt. I mean, I just bought some crunch berries. I know I shouldn't have, but they, you know, that type of food has a lot of coloring in it and different sugars and different things. Where can we go and buy more food that tastes good? I know I asked a lot of questions. Just give a comment on what I said.
Well, the first initial piece I would say is health advocacy and literacy. Well, literacy first and then advocacy, because a lot of times we don't know what we're putting in our body. We don't know how detrimental it is and how long it can be detrimental. And unfortunately, our culture is reactive and not proactive. So that's where that literacy piece will come in, because we have to advocate for the things that will help us in the long run. And it truly takes a village. I mentioned this when we first started. It truly takes a village. Like garden, you know, people who have natural gardens and they have their own meals essentially in their backyards, you know, having little pop-up shops or workshops or connecting with, and it doesn't always have to be us waiting for someone or another group or culture to do something for us. We have to do it ourselves. So literacy is so huge. That's just like the economic challenge. Everyone says literacy. It starts with literacy, because if you don't know what you don't know, how do you know what you don't know? You don't. So that's where it starts. And then after you are informed, you can become influenced, because now you've had a little bit of information that has informed you enough to where you're seeking or giving influence. So I think that's the biggest thing of all this, because we have to know and care enough about ourselves, because when you care about, I'll say this, I had a conversation with a woman. She was 75 or 74. And I said, you know, I admire you. She was so fit, so fit. And she said, why is that? I said, because I know how much work it takes to look like that. You know, so, you know, and she said, oh, I really appreciate that. And that people who work out or eat healthy, they know it's a certain amount of discipline that you have to have. And a lot of people just don't have that. Just like the sister mentioned earlier, it's a different generation right now. People are okay with looking a certain way, and it's become the norm, especially for our culture, to just be lax. You know, what happened to back in the days where you wear your best to go certain places, or you really uphold certain values? And I think culturally we have to set a different narrative and a standard for our generations. When I say it takes a village, we get further and further away from the village, and then it becomes detrimental to all of our communities, our micro communities in the bigger scope of things. So that's my take on that.
Understood. It's a real challenge because we do not control the media that presents the message to the people. And so they can do all of these ads that say, buy this that has sugar in it, buy this that has salt in it.
But we control our households. And if
Go
you're a
ahead,
parent,
sister.
you control what your kids see, think, hear, not think, but hear, what they see. So we have to really get back into that family component and us
I understand that, but the
family.
internet has changed a lot of that because Johnny can go in his room, you send him to his room, and he can go on his phone and still access so many different things unless you totally control his phone. Now that's a
That's
different
right.
story between
That's
me and my
right.
daughter.
If
I
he's
took
under,
her
if
phone
he's
and
at your
we had a
house,
Under
fight.
your house.
if he's at your house, you need to control his phone.
Well, like I say, I took my daughter's phone. She's about 4'11", and it was a big fight, and I didn't know she was that strong. So yes, it's a challenge though, because
Well, you
what
see,
I'm saying is the media is so strong and has such a peer pressure upon our kids, our community, that to break these cycles is very difficult. Across the board, not just health, but politically, economically, in every kind of way. So, and shows like this, and we need more shows like this that promote healthy community, healthy eating. But it's a difficult challenge. But we do need to try to fight that. And I understand
if I may, my husband was just in a counseling session with Sheila Phillips, who's in Acres Homes, and one of the things that he told her, because she was talking about the fact that her mother's staying with her now, and that they're all trying to detox and get healthy. And one of the things, the first thing he told her was to go home and pull all of the junk food out and throw it away. And then, as he said to me ages and ages ago, and he said to our daughter and our family, don't bring it in the house and you won't eat it. And I have developed a real passion for fresh mangoes, and oh my God, celery are my potato chips. They're just so good. And Aldi Market, by the way, since no, not Aldi Market, Costco, they have these little packages of celery sticks. They are the sweetest. And late at night, when you say, oh, let me get something on the way to bed, grab a celery stick and take it up with you. But my other snack is Andre and I we are really addicted to, and I did that to him, I'll admit it. Peanut butter and apples. Cold apples, not wet, not warm. They have to be cold apples, okay? And sometimes I'll take them and I'll put the peanut butter on the apples and I'll just stick it in the freezer, and that's a potato chip late at night. But it's really, I mean, but you're getting your protein, and you're getting we like those gala apples, you know. But peanut and Aldi Market has this really thin sliced bread that has nuts in it. I think it's called Seed-tastic or something like that. OMG, it's so good, and it's only like 70 calories, but it gives you the nutrients. And in our refrigerator, when you open up the drawer underneath, there's walnuts and almonds and pecans and bell peppers and you know, lots of things to snack on. But if you have them there, you'll eat them, and Yeah.
That's a key.
My big problem is I love the intermittent fasting, and I do try to do 12 hours. I used to do 14, but now I just do 12 because I eat 5 times a day now. But I eat small meals. A celery stick or a piece of or a handful of pecans is a meal for me. You know, in the mornings, I like to make Gingartum smoothies. There's a wonderful recipe. I just finished freezing about 7 bananas, and you just freeze these banana halves. You take the frozen bananas, drop them into a blender, and then cover that with some almond milk, and then throw in a nice amount, a serious amount of cinnamon. The more cinnamon you add, the more it'll taste like a Wendy's Frosty, better. And then you chop up some ginger and stick that in there with it, and put in some vanilla flavoring. And even if you don't add the frozen blueberries or a handful of grapes, or not grapes, I stay away from grapes because they're too sweet for me. But a handful of a lettuce or spinach or something like that. People have come back and said, "Oh my God, it's addictive, that smoothie, and it's so healthy, and you can make as many as you want, and if you freeze it really hard, then it becomes ice cream."
Yes, ma'am. Hey, we are at the end of our
Okay.
show. I want to give everybody a chance to have a final word, a promo if you would like, and just tell the audience about healthy living, how it's helped you, and what they can do, where they can buy some healthy things and different things that you might think about to eat healthy. Sister Kijana, you want to start with that?
Okay. I highly recommend that, 1, you listen to your bodies. 2, eat something raw every day. And 3, go to gingartum.com, Gingartum. I know it's backwards.com. Or you can read some of the comments, and all of the ingredients are there. If you don't do anything, buy those ingredients, have them at home, and incorporate them. Scrape some ginger on your salad, and consider what you're eating. And if you're going to eat meat, if you're going to do a steak, make it rare, because you want as much life in it as possible. The more you cook it, the more carcinogenic it is. Stay away from barbecue.
Powerful. Thank you. You've been so powerful and eye-opening. Thank you. We need to do this again and often so we can have these words out to the community and these helpful hints. Sister Cierra, please, your comments.
There we go.
Can't hear
Okay.
you. Can't hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I accidentally clicked on that. But yes, definitely find your village. Find your village, because sometimes this work, you have to have systems, you have to have discipline. And if you find a group of individuals who are intentional about living the lifestyle of healthy living, it makes life a lot easier. Definitely drink water. Drink enough water. Drink enough water. Drink enough water. Yes, yes. Get sunlight when you need it, and eat your herbs. Stay hydrated. I can't say that enough, because a lot of people don't realize how a lot of those causes really is due to either not exercise or not drinking water, dehydration. So yeah, so those are some of the things I would say that we can focus on, and that's my closing point for sure.
And water is not soda. Water is not soda. Right. Because a lot of people think they should drink soda.
Oh man.
No,
And that's another topic.
Oh yeah.
A doctor once told me that a soda is like pouring a half a cup of sugar and eating that or drinking that. Your final word, Brother Husani?
My final words would be to address your mind, your body, and your spirit at the same time. And I feel like if you do so, you really can't fail. If things go along with your spirit, if you feel like it's for you, it's meant to help you and make you a better person, then I think you should keep it close to you. You should, like the sister said, like Sierra said, find those groups, stay within those groups, stay in those circles that live that lifestyle, and I think just overall increase your standard of living. Whatever that means to you. And what it means to me is changing the value of the foods you eat. Don't eat cheap foods anymore because they won't hit you the fastest, but they have the longest lasting like ill effect, on the body. So stay away from low cost, like real cheap foods, and just increase your standard of living.
Well, thank you very much. This
And
has been
Ashe.
very eye-opening. Hey, I really reach out to you all to let us have these conversations a little bit more often. I reach out to you. Can we have a review of healthy living? Brother Sani had to go, but it's been very important, and I thank you very much. And I'll reach out to you again, and I'll send everybody a video.
Awesome. Let's stay connected. Thank you so much. Have a good night, you all.
All
You
right,
too.
everybody, thank you. Bye-bye.